Welcome to another episode of the No Flop Zone. You're taking time out with myself, Boti Nagy, my co-host, the divine Joey Wright. Got back from Melbourne safely.
Barely.
Yeah. On today's show, we're going to be talking about the play-in tournament, the Southeast Melbourne Perth game, the Adelaide Sydney game, what comes from there, Xavier Cook's situation with his suspension. We're talking about Derek Walton. We're going to be talking about your viewers' questions. There's some damn good ones again this week. In fact, the majority of the program will go
I'm loving the viewers' questions.
Yeah. And then we've got some NBA stuff, which I'm sure you're going to find interesting. Let's start off with the first of the play-in tournament. Before we even say that, why are we calling this a play-in tournament? This by no definition is this a tournament. It's not a tournament.
It's not a tournament, and it's
six.
not a play-in. Yeah, let's just go top six and play it out as top six. Not even play-in. I don't even. How can you have a finals game between third and fourth, and then a play-in game that comes actually after?
Yeah.
So wouldn't we want to do the play-in game and then we build it up, and then we?
So let's call it what it is. Third played fourth to start with. And I got to say, that was the first time I thought in 2 years that John Rillie did a great job coaching the Perth Wildcats in that game. He
just by that statement alone, the first time in 2 years, the guy's been highly successful.
I don't care. I'm watching the way they play. I know you say they run sets. The set is come down, shoot the ball. Down, pass it to somebody.
They run a lot more than that.
There was one offense where they passed it 5 times, counted. They passed it 5 times, and by the time the fifth guy got it, you know what to do. What's going on here? We're playing basketball. Anyway, I was going to say he's cut the rotation. He's got the right first five with Bryce Cotton, Ben Henschel, Windler, Doolittle, and Pinder, and then he's just going to Amanza
and Owens and
Webster, and Jesse Wagstaff. So that's the 8. So now he's got it. That's the group. And, I thought the way they started, 14-16 up, 20-4 or 20-6 at the beginning, Angus Glover pulls Southeast Melbourne back into the game. Yeah. And then I thought the officiating
was atrocious.
Oh,
God. And skewed towards Perth for sure.
No question.
Yeah. It was when you get into the finals game, all I can say is Josh King, welcome to the NBL.
Yeah,
you get to a finals game and you think it's going to come down team to team, and it doesn't. You only need 4 or 5 years of that shit before you have enough.
I think for the majority of the 3 quarters after Perth's hot start, I thought Southeast Melbourne was in control of the game, and then it just swung, and then once it swung, that like they went 39-33 in the second quarter. I haven't seen a quarter like that.
Look, I think it was some really good basketball being played. The ball was moving, shots were being made. I thought it looked really good on both sides. I just didn't think that they could sustain, Southeast Melbourne could sustain what they did in that second quarter, third quarter. I didn't think they could sustain that in the fourth quarter. Glover would have to step up and continue to do that for them to be competitive. And
I thought he sat too much. I thought that was a mistake Josh King made, that he left him out there sitting too long. I mean, he had, what do you have in the first quarter? 15, 20 by half time, 24, and I think he finishes with 25 or something like that. So I thought he sat, and I thought Lewis sat at a time when Wieskamp was giving them nothing, had the worst game of the season, 1 point, was dreadful, and was taking threes a couple of times when Angus Glover was to his left, would have made the better pass and the better shot. And Owen Foxwell, I thought, who I love, I just thought he was kind of overwhelmed with the job on Bryce, and just he didn't play his normal confident game.
I thought he got some bad calls.
Oh yeah.
I thought a couple of times he slid and got himself in position. But a second-year player to come in and do as well as he did. He just got no calls, and sometimes that can be a bit deflating. But back to Wieskamp, way too much energy.
Oh.
Now I felt ployed at that as a coach as well. When we give all our players the right to shoot the ball. Sometimes they can shoot the ball with aggression, and they should be passing that thing. Yeah. That's what makes them work, but I think the players get a little bit smarter and kick that thing on.
Yeah, and also I don't think enough was made, certainly not by the commentators who were just busy singing Perth praises all game, of Ben Ayre getting hurt.
Yeah.
Like when he got hurt, I mean, he hurt his neck. There's no question he was in trouble on the bench. Yeah, and I think one of the sideline reporters, whether Annalie Maley or Kelsey Brown, said, "Oh yeah, he'll be right. He'll be back in the game." And from that point on, they completely forgot about him. Yeah. Now, he's an important factor. If you're taking out Derek Walton, you're throwing a lot on Foxwell and Ben Air.
Yeah.
You take Ben Air out, geez, they were doing really well there for a period of time, considering those circumstances and the officiating.
The one thing about Ben's going to get the ball to where it needs to be. So if Glover's hot, that ball's going to move on to Glover, and he's going to get a shot. Ben will have a conscious effort to get that ball in the right place. And when he went out, I was cooking a little bit, so I didn't see the hit, so I had to rewind it. Yep. But then I was wanting more explanation because I was, in and out of the game a little bit. I didn't get much at all. No,
well, and what we did get was Keanu Pinder playing. I can't believe that is the same guy that played for Conor Henry at Adelaide, where he was just an athlete and a turnover waiting to happen. This man was 35 points in 11.
Culture. In a team, bad culture, bad players do well. In a team where it's good culture, good players do well. So you got a bad culture, you can have great players on that team, they're not going to look good. The guy that's going to look good on that team is a guy that has bad culture himself. Yeah. So you have to have your mind and your body's got to be working together. Bad culture, bad players will thrive.
Fabulous third quarter and fabulous game. Yeah. Outstanding. I'm going to give you a figure now. 2,975. What do you reckon that figure represents?
The number of people that was in the stadium?
Yeah. This is a 13,500 crowd. I know it's a Tuesday night. Yeah. Or it was a Tuesday night. And I know that it's a school night. Yeah.
But it's Perth. It's Perth. I have been in there once when it was fairly empty. I don't think that empty. But I've been in there when it was fairly empty before. And it was one of the same situation where they probably knew Perth was going to advance to the next round. It was a midweek game, first game of finals, and they just people didn't show up. It is daunting in there when there's nobody in there. Right. I'd rather have people in there. Really? Yeah, because when it's that quiet, you hear the comments. But when it's just noise, and you can actually rally that noise towards you. Like as a team, you just want to, if you're a away team, you just want to hear noise. You don't want to hear silence because that's when you dumb down as a player. So, but I think it was weird in there.
It's funny you should say that because I've always thought when an opposition player is taking a free throw, if the place went dead silent, that would be much harder for him than when they're sort of booing or waving.
Athletes, we train our brain to deal with chaos and all that. When it's not chaos and it's just easy and quiet, that's when it gets tougher. And I felt it real. I even felt weird coaching in the environment. I've been in Sydney one time when it was a big stadium and nobody there. And you coach and you're like, hey, you're trying to bring your voice down and you're like, oh, it's a bit weird.
Okay, bit weird. Xavier Cooks suspended or temporarily suspended due to a drug investigation. Let's take that to, we don't know much more about it than that. So let's take it to where it's important, and that is tonight's game against Adelaide, which is an elimination game. Yeah. Without him, Adelaide's winning that game. They were going to win that even with him.
To me, no question about LA was going to win that game, whether he was playing or not playing. I think they got other issues to deal with that are bigger than him being in the game or not being in the game to get that franchise right, and it probably starts with Adams.
Yeah. See, I think there'll be a couple of players in that group that'll be happy for it to be over. Like they'll come out, they'll put in Adams. Yeah.
Who else?
Oliver.
Yep.
I love Alex Tui, but he's been messed around this season. I'm a big fan of his, but he's been messed around.
I don't know if he's been messed around. I, as a rookie one time, this was maybe second or third game in, I seen him arguing with Eric Cooks. Like, that shouldn't happen.
Hang on, Eric Cooks, he went up into the stands and said, hey, that shouldn't happen. He should have been reported for that. Going into the stands. Harold, 3 games.
At one point in time, I saw him arguing with Cooks.
Right, Xavier, yeah.
And I don't think that as a rookie to be arguing with last year's MVP, something's not right there.
He's not a rookie. He's around. This is at least his second.
I'm not talking about this was the first year. This was last year. So this set the tempo for me last year to watch him. And I don't know if he jibes as well with his team as he should.
All I'm saying is,
I don't know that. I haven't talked to anybody. It's just my observations of body language and communication.
As we are with coaches who you will defend.
Yeah, if they're defendable.
Okay. Josh King, I thought he made an absolute boo by having Wieskamp and Sobey. Sobey couldn't make a layup to save his life. Yeah. So he had Sobey and Wieskamp on at a particular time when Perth were getting away. And he had Glover and Malik Lewis sitting off. I thought, get them in. Then it just got too big.
Yeah, it did get too big. They blew it out, but Perth went on, and which they can do. I mean, they can take a short minute, 2-minute time and just completely blow a game open. And with Pender playing as well as he did, and Cotton.
15 free throws to Bryce. He just had to go anywhere near the keyway. Oh, get to the foul line.
Yeah.
All right. So Adelaide, Sydney. Adelaide.
I think Adelaide all day long. I think they'll walk into that thing and play well. The only thing that'll hurt Adelaide, and this is here, which we know Adelaide struggles with, is Cooks being out.
Yeah.
Because I guarantee you, every one of those players and coaching staff would win.
Yeah, of course.
That's when you now take a step down. Soon as it matters that someone's out and you feel better if they're out, then it can hurt you. So you got to make that real quick. Go, nah, we want Cooks in there. Put him in there. Put him in there. We want everybody in there. Bring them all.
I thought they would have beaten them with Cooks in. I still think they will now.
I think they would have beaten with Cooks in there.
Yes, and I still think they will now, and that would move them theoretically into Sunday's game against Southeast Melbourne at John Cain Arena. This is Adelaide's to lose now. They've got a path.
Yeah, they got a path. I think it started before just with Sydney going out. I think they once they decide they want to play, they can beat anybody as they're proven. They've beaten Illawarra.
Yes, in Wollongong. Yeah. And if I'm Illawarra, I'm looking at Adelaide as maybe the one team I don't want to play. Because you don't know what you're going to get.
I don't think anybody wants to play them because you don't know. Like, that's the hardest thing as a coach. You come out and you wait and go, okay, what am I getting? And if you see what they can give, you don't want it because they can get hot quick and they can score at multiple positions and they look really good. They just got to defend consistently.
Speaking of Adelaide, Jason Cadee, who we mentioned in coaching discussions last week, has announced that this is his final season. He's retiring whenever the 36ers campaign concludes. Just your thoughts on Jason?
Having him as a rookie, being with him through his year where he was recovering from his car accident, and just over the years, you have players that, become friends, and then you have players that become family. And Jason's one of those guys that's family. Like, I don't have my family out here, so I rely on guys like that, and we talk all the time. I talked to him today, actually. Yeah. And, he's just a brilliant young man. Like, you're just happy that you got a chance to know him and his family. I think they've all been great people towards me.
Do you think we're going to, if you've spoken to him today, do you think we're going to lose him to basketball? Because he's got a job he's going to, step one.
Yeah, he's going to go to step one. He's going to try to help expand that. I actually have some step one underwear. They're actually really good underwear.
Some of us don't wear underwear.
Step one would be to get some underwear. All right, you're telling too much right now, buddy. I don't even know if we can finish this thinking of you with no underwear on.
Yeah. Do you think we're going to lure him back into coaching? Because he's ready made for coaching.
I said to him right away, I said, look, I understand, stepping outside of it. I said, man, but you make a brilliant coach. And his exact words was, I think I'd be a great coach too, but I'm not naturally an asshole as much as you are. So I would have to work on that.
Not naturally.
I don't know if that's a compliment, Jace, or what, but yeah.
Well, it's family, so I take
family,
it,
so
I take it as a compliment. All right, let's quickly go through the NBL Awards from Monday night. Yeah. Obviously, Bryce Cotton winning MVP.
No surprise.
No surprise at all.
No surprise. I mean, he deserves it. The fact that, he's doing it at this time and he's done it so convincingly. Like, it was, you could talk about Kendrick Davis being second, but
it was a long way back.
Yeah, a long way back.
This was, I think, Bryce's best season.
I would agree with you. I think this is Bryce's best season. Like, he's had, he really didn't have that. Sometimes he'll have that run where he, 4 or 5 games where he just can't hit crap. Mm-hmm. He didn't really go that route this year. But he's taken it from being, a 24, 25 point player to just 40. Like, he gets 40 easy.
Yeah. And 50s like this.
Consistently. So, yeah, Bryce is being Bryce. Bryce is Bryson.
All right. Justin Tatum, Coach of the Year, another easy one. Even though, I want to say this, there was a period in time where I thought the NBL was trying to paint you as an angry black man.
Yeah.
I get the feeling they're trying to paint him that way.
I think that in our culture here in Australia is easy to convince people. And it's a lot easier to convince people that me and him are angry black men than who we are, intelligent black men who are passionate about a game of basketball.
Let's just say intelligent men. We don't need to put black in there.
We don't need to, but if we do, like I've never been one to if it's a black kid over there, I'm trying to identify him. Hey, get the black kid, get the white kid with the red shoes. I don't think it's anything negative in using that as to distinguish someone, but I think when we attach that angry to it for some reason. I met a lady from Perth the other day in the mall, and she goes, I mean, at the casino, when we're watching the game together, and she looked over at me and she figured out who I was. And she leans in and goes, I don't like you. And I leaned back in and said, why? And
Based on what?
She said, oh, just all the stuff. And I said, really? And I said, you'll find I'm actually a really good guy. And if I was that passionate, when I'm ordering a hamburger, I think I'd had a heart attack by now. And so I ordered some food and I ordered some drinks. And by the end of it, we watched the game together. And she leans back in at the end and goes, you're a good guy.
I think the people that know you through Transition Sports and Shoot HQ and the people watching this with us are getting to see who you really are not. Anyway, sorry, we've steered away from Justin Tatum. Yeah. Justin Tatum, absolutely
great, and I just like everything about him and just how he goes about his business, and he runs some great sets and he gets his team ready to play, and he's what a coach should be about. I'd love to see him doing more coaching seminars and us talking about I love to know what his secret is and what he's doing, even though I'm not really coaching at that level anymore. I just love to know why people are good at what they do.
Right, and speaking of that, Shaley, outstanding as best defensive. I want to say that people keep saying Shaley and Matthew Dellavedova, what a defensive combination. I'm sorry, Matty's showing his age. Shaley is a phenomenal player, and he's a key player to that team. Absolutely key player.
Yeah, I think Shea is, what he does is just, he's the heart and soul of that team. And I think, Dean obviously knows that. And they're so successful when he's on the court. And it's so obviously they're not successful when he's not on the court. So he's been great and love everything about him.
Okay, these other ones, let's go through them quickly. Quat Noy, best six man, easy. Terrell Harrison, most improved. I liked Owen Foxwell for that, but
I thought Owen Foxwell did get it.
No, Terrell Harrison got it. Okay, moving on. Alex Tui got the Next Generation Award. Again, I kind of like Taron Armstrong for that.
Yeah, I'd pick Taron Armstrong. I would have picked even the kid from New Zealand over Tui, to be honest with you. I like both of them over him.
Here's the thing: the All-Star 5. Now, what's your position on the All-Star 5? Because they're doing it positionless. So we end up with 4 guards: Kendrick Davis, Bryce Cotton, Trey Kill, Tyler Harvey, and Matt Hurt. That's not a first team. They're calling it the NBL first team. That ain't a team. That's 5 good players.
That's 5 good players, and I think you should pick a team because 100%. The problem with us, if you just leave it up to guards, have the ball. They have the first opportunity to be successful. They have more chances to be successful. So let's see who's the best point guard in the league. Not just the best 3 guards, because they're always going to be better because they have the ball more. But you got to be better than your position. Can't be just better than a guy that doesn't play in your position. So it just throws the whole thing out of the water for me. Don't pick a team.
The moment the NBL went to it, I just said, well, look, if you want to know who the best 5 are, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in the MVP voting gives you that.
Yeah.
That's not a team. That's not a NBL first team. So I did like Kendrick Davis, Bryce Cotton, and Matt Hurt, but I also would have had Sam Froling as the center, and I would have had Casey Prather probably in the 3-man role. That's how I would have rolled.
Yeah.
But then the second team is, again, positionless: Casey Prather, Chris Golding, Montrezl Harrell, Sam Froling, Xavier Cooks. Yeah. All right. Vaughan Mayberry got referee of the year. And you know why? Because he's the best at going on the sideline. Don't pass it over the line. And also in winding the clock back from 0.2 to 0.4 when it's, that's how much time is left in the game, and the difference is 30 points. He wins, hands down.
He wins. I'm not commenting. It's nothing to comment on.
All right. Viewer topics. We've got some beauties here. We got one from at Crafty Fat Boy. So he's gone. Rimas Kourtenitis, who we spoke about, European last week, was a legend in Townsville, along with Ricky the Rain Man Jones, and he went back to Lithuania on a contract. Played for another 12 years. Yeah, so he didn't come out here in his, doddery old days. He came out, he was still a prime player, and he was a very good player in that league.
Well, he was a very good player in that league, no question about it.
Okay. We got one from @Glenn M. Pack 8, something like that, crazy. He said, I'd love to see a Canberra team again. Potentially won't be a Cannons team because the license is held by the Singapore Slickers. Thoughts on what the NBL will do with the majority interest in the WNBL taking effect come April? Do you think they might have back-to-back games a la NBL 1?
Well, I think they will have some games where they collab together on. I think you'll see marketing, as we already have. We've seen a few marketing collaborations. So I think it's great. I think it's going to be great for the WNBL. The thing about it, when we talk about true talented leagues and being number 2 in the world, the women's WNBL team is very, very high.
League, yeah.
Yeah, it's a very good league. When you take the talent pool and you can, compress that, it's a very good league. So it's something to be promoted there. We'll just see how it goes about.
You could do it with Perth Wildcats, Perth Lynx. They could play doubleheader.
Yeah.
You got Adelaide 36ers, Adelaide Lightning could play a doubleheader. Melbourne United or Southeast Melbourne could link up with Southside Flyers, Sydney Kings, Sydney Flames.
Yep.
So there's several markets, big city markets where that could eventuate, a la NBL 1, where they do the. Okay, so nice question. Okay, we got Aaron Gogoli 2017. If Paddy and Joey at the tail of their NBA careers, could you see them investing in a club, and which one?
If they're smart, they would.
They've earned that money. Why lose it?
Yeah, I don't think that. I think both of those guys are too smart for that. I think they can be some applied association with some clubs, but I don't think they would put their money in there. Joe definitely ain't. Joe tight. Joe's not spending nothing. He's gonna keep his millions.
And Paddy will spread that out through the Indigenous community, doing things like water into areas where they don't have water, all those sorts of things.
I think he would invest more in that than anything.
Okay, so moving on. Another question from him. Thoughts on the potential new Boomers coaches?
We talked a little bit about it. My favorite is Dean.
Dean Vickham.
I love Dean and what he's doing, and he's here. He's been coaching in the league the last couple of years. He sees it. I still see it a little bit of a conflict of interest when we have someone coaching in the NBL who's also the national team coach, as far as recruitment and so forth. But he'd be good. Obviously, Trevor would be really good in that. And,
You've seen Quinn Snyder's name mentioned?
I did see Quinn. Quinn would be great. I just feel like you need to have a little bit more association. I know he has some indirect association with Australian players, throughout, coming through the Spurs system. But I would like someone a little bit more hands-on with the Australian system and see what's going on and been here for a little while. And to me, Trevor Dean.
Would an AIS Under-25 team work in the NBL? No. It ultimately didn't work in the WNBL, so I don't think.
No, it's not going to work. They wouldn't be competitive enough.
Crowds, money, everything.
Wouldn't work.
Okay, we got @Ballaholic 118 is back. He was with us last week. Again, another slew of great questions. Should there be more punishment for ownership and general managers for how seasons turn out? For example, New Zealand had top squad cut Gillespie for fall, won 3 games after that. Or the 36ers changing coaches during preseason and only just making the 6 segue by 1% from Tasmania. 1% after the season Tasmania had. That's pretty extraordinary. Oh yeah, it's about
with the money spent too.
Yeah. Okay. It seems all blame goes on players and coaches and not much to the people on top.
Ballaholic. That's the reason why I'm not coaching. 100% the reason why I'm not coaching anymore. Too many other people have a say-so in the success, but they can step out the back door when the heat happens. And they do step out the back door when the heat happens and leave you sitting there going, yeah, maybe we shouldn't have done that. But, yeah, that's exactly why I'm not coaching anymore. The administrators found their head into the game right when analytics happened and people start having opinions outside of the coaches. Analytics was the first thing that kind of brought that on, where another opinion besides the coach and the players mattered. And then the person that controlled that analytics started having a voice. And then guys like Cuban start buying teams who were slick and smooth and can talk. And all of a sudden, the owner and the administrator became so huge in the game with no responsibility at all.
I think you got your answer. Do we like the play-in? I think we already discussed that. We
fuck the play-in.
just call it a top six.
Just call it top six and let's go. It's been done before. Like we've had the top six in this league.
Last one here is obviously the style of basketball now is pick and roll, threes and getting laps. No mid-range or post. In 2025, could an NBL team have an advantage if they got a really good low post player that could score but draw double teams and pass?
A la Illawarra Hawks. Illawarra Hawks score everywhere. They score on the three-point line, on the mid-range, and low post. Hence the reason why they finished first.
You've got your answers. Okay, let's talk a little bit of NBA. Ben Simmons got traded from Brooklyn to Los Angeles Clippers. He rejoins a bunch of guys that have, including Patty Mills, that have been coming in from all over the place.
He joined a bunch of guys that didn't like him
in
other places. So I don't know if that helps just because they're Australian. I don't know if that helps because he's in a new place, but let's hope it helps. He's a talented guy, and he just needs to get things right upstairs.
Next one, Anthony Davis goes to the Mavs, has 24 points in the first half of his first game. He's kicking butt and gets injured in the second half on 26 points.
And that's his story of his life. He's been exceptional when he's on the court, but he can't stay on the court. In this league, not necessarily as much as the NBA, but it has happened in the NBA. That's what we call coach killers.
Yeah.
Because you got this great player, but you keep losing. Got this great player, you keep losing, then you forget. And people do forget. He missed 30 games or he missed 20 games.
Yeah.
Coach killer.
I watched the a little bit of the Lakers Utah game. I couldn't watch much, but I watched a little bit of it. And towards the end of the first quarter, there's a steal, a broken play from Utah, and LeBron is out on the fast break. Yeah. LeBron James. Yeah. One guy chasing him. The guy sort of makes position. LeBron goes around him, takes the layup, misses. We're only seconds from quarter time. He stops and starts bitching to the refs about a foul that there wasn't one. Yeah. And then we go to quarter time, and he's still bitching to the refs. And he's still bitching. He's still, I'm LeBron. And I thought the ref just wanted to say, mate, you're 40, you flubbed a layup, get over it. But they can't say that, of course, because then they won't get another game. But geez, it was ugly. He's tainting his legacy now. I know he's still getting numbers, but he's tainting his legacy.
I mean, the thing that drives us as athletes is our ego. All right, and that never shuts off. So retiring a legend is one of the hardest things to ever do. I mean, Jordan's image got tainted a little bit at the end. I don't think he played. I mean, I would love them to just go straight out, leave. I mean, he had some big games there, no question about it. The Wizards, he still averaged 20. But I would just like to see him go out on the top and be done. Like all those guys, I'd like to see them go out on the top and be done. Those extra 3 or 4 years, you've already proven to me how great you are.
Speaking of which, did you see Lance Stevenson?
I did.
Auditioning for a role from the Bye-Bye NBA, Hello NBL.
He was auditioning for a role in MTV raps. That's what he's doing. He did a rap concert when he was down there. So okay. I don't think his interest at all was at basketball. If he pick him up on the NBL team, he's going to definitely bring a aura with him. And I don't know if it's the one you want, but you're going to get eyes on games if he does come and play.
All right, we'll be back in a second to sum up the next couple of finals. Okay, we're back and we're talking Sydney Adelaide. The winning or losing? Who's winning?
Well, I think Adelaide's going to win that game, which will
projects them into Sunday's game.
Sunday's game against Southeast Melbourne, and I'm going to take Southeast Melbourne in that game. I think they'll have a little bit more fight in them, a little bit more bite in them, especially after this last game. And they played a really good game. I just thought the officiating was terrible against them. Kind of broke their spirit a little bit, but I think they'll probably pull that one out on Sunday.
The officiating was so bad that in the last quarter, when the calls were just flowing against them, they were laughing. It was like you got to the point where if you don't laugh, you're going to cry.
Yeah, on some of those calls, I just was bewildered by, and I would like for a little replay on a few of those too, just so we can see them a little bit clearer. I think they just moved on quickly.
So on the basis of what you're saying, we've got a Perth-Melbourne semi-final, and we're projecting it'll be a Southeast Melbourne Illawarra semi-final, which would be 1, 2, 3, 4.
Yeah,
have all made the semis. Which would be good.
Yeah, and a lot depends on what happens in between, with Adelaide and Sydney. But I just don't see Sydney being able to compete without Cooks, and they already had a lot of turmoil going on. I can't see it.
Okay, so don't forget to subscribe. We're on our way to 1,000. Leave your comments. Again, as you can see, we will pick up your viewer topics and we will discuss them. So leave them in the comments. Thanks a lot, Joe. We'll see you next week.
Thank you. See you next week.